Hi, this is Brian's board with CTC. Previously, I talked about factors that influence startup business valuation, and today I'm going to build upon that by talking about a specific valuation method and how those factors fit in. And the valuation method I chose is called the Payne scorecard method or the benchmark method. And I chose it because it's a prominent method used by angel investors in evaluating early stage companies. And I'll go through it step by step. I broke it down into four steps, and just generally I'll go through it here. And the first step is for the investors to pick a benchmark, which is shown up here. In this example, it's $2 million. And the way they pick it is by looking at the industry and an industry that's similar to yours, and maybe it's geography as well as industry, and saying, okay, here's some deals that have happened recently for similar type companies, and here's an average of the pre-money valuation that's happened, and that's going to be our benchmark. So that's how that number comes about. The second step is actually here. It's basically looking at those factors, those criteria, which I hope you recognize by now, and applying a weight to each of them based on how important they are in the valuation. And so in this example, that top bullet point is team, the management team. And you can see that's been given the highest number, 30 or 30%. And you can look down the elements there and see what kind of numbers they've been given. And keep in mind that different investors will give different weights to different points, but this is a fairly typical example. The next column or the next step is step number 3, and basically that's looking at your company and comparing it to another similar one in the area. And what investors will do and what you can do for yourself is look at that comparison company and say, okay, let's look at teams, for the management team, for example. Okay, well, my team is at least as good or just about as good as that comparison company, so I'm going to give myself a 100%. Or maybe you say, my team is good, but it's not quite as good as that comparison company, so I'm going to give myself a 75%, and so on down the line. And maybe you have a top-notch technology, for example, and you know it's better than that other company, and you're going to give yourself 150%. But so on down the line. As I said, the last step is actually doing the math in this last column. And so you will, for the team bullet point again, you're going to take your weight times your comparison number to get a factor, and you're going to do that across the board, come up with an overall factor. You're going to take that number and multiply it times your benchmark to come up with your final business valuation. And in this case, you come up with $1.8 million, or the investors come up with that number. And so you're saying, well, I'm almost the same as that benchmark, but a little bit less. I have room for improvement. And even if you were a little bit more, there's always room for improvement. Overall, though, you'll notice, hopefully you noticed, there's still a lot of subjectivity in this method, as in most of the methods, and all of the methods, I think. And for this reason, investors will do several different methods per company and try and come up with an average just to reduce the risk in their valuation numbers. And I'm not trying to make you a professional at valuing businesses here, but you, the entrepreneur, can really put yourself in a good position by understanding what factors are important and how you can improve the readiness of your business when you talk to investors. This has been Brian's board with CTC.